We are ready. Semifinal number 1. Let's count them down. In 3, 2, 1. Tetris. This is one we've been waiting for. The Battle of the Rollers, the Battle of the Glasses.
A rematch from CTWC this year where Scooty was able to best Miles. Miles trying to prove that the TikTok fanship is not just a fluke, and Scooty trying to prove that he deserved that win.
And this is best of 5. We are we've advanced past the early stages, and now it's a battle of blocks till the end. We got Toogie in chat.
Always a pleasure. At least that's what we say when we're on comms.
He said something, you know, I shouldn't repeat on stream, but he's happy to see you, I think.
Scooty managing through some early garbage here.
But this is if you're not used to seeing this live, oh my goodness, Miles in trouble. He's going to top out with 25,000.
And a very uncharacteristic top out. Very unexpected.
Wow. Game 2 and 3. 2-1 Tetris. Miles gifting Blue Scooty that first heart.
Giving everyone a dose of how small the world can be and trying to embarrass Scooty to make it even. For those who don't know, I actually know Scooty's family in real life. I just didn't know it until his grandfather posted about it on Facebook. So it was definitely a small world moment.
It's a small world in Kansas City, but you have to drive a lot of miles to get to each other's houses. I think the airport's located in Nebraska. We had to make a run out there to pick up some people last night, and it took a while.
Yeah, KCI recently got renovated, but it's still not a super friendly airport. Miles already about to pass the score from last game, almost neck and neck.
There it goes. All right, 2 Tetrises. Miles got the groove back.
You had 3.
And since we don't have Nestor's champs, Blue Scooty, you will see that screen looking to check on your opponent's score.
Really common for a lot of today's players. Even when you have announcers giving frequent score updates, sometimes it's not enough. You'll have players who are screen looking constantly.
Sit back, relax. Thanks for joining us today. This has been a fun regional, a fun event. Hope we can come back next year.
We will welcome you with open arms back to Kansas.
And Dr. Mario tomorrow. We have the 1-2 combination punch of our 2024 kickoff.
Some love for Grandpa Scooty in the chat. They've got a pretty good following. If you didn't see, we've got a whole Scooty crew with family and friends all supporting him with shirts that they brought. Miles left all of his followers online, but I'm sure that they're rooting for him as well.
We need a name for that Scooty army. Somebody come with something fast. That's what chat's for. But a 189, 186, so neck and neck game, 3,000 point difference. That's basically nothing. The Scoo crew. I like that.
Ren's Hearts. Scooty's squad. That may be a little better.
That's kind of derivative from Stu crew, but I do like that lineage.
Scooty with his first real garbage of the game. Luckily on 18, it's not too bad for these players normally, but you still don't like to see a stack like that.
And the Kingsman flat burn, and he's out of trouble.
Playing one off the bottom as these kids often do. It'll probably stay that way for a little while.
I'm a fan of playing one off the bottom, especially for the rollers. There's no real advantage to wasting time burning that last piece.
No, that's one of the big differences between DAS and rollers, aside from the obvious speed difference. You'll see DAS players get really excited when they burn down, and rollers seem to only see it as being inefficient.
But Miles playing aggressive again up top. But they can maneuver up there. They can play level 18 like I play level 5. And Scooty with the Tetris down the middle, column 7. And another one. That's the way to transfer a well. With 2 dirty Tetrises.
Almost looked like Scooty went for a Game Boy style spin. Doesn't spin that way in S-Testers. For those who don't know, Miles is known lately for playing a lot of Sand Tetris, getting a little different in there. And Scooty holds the recorded world record, as far as I know, for Game Boy Tetris score. So both these players well-versed in stacking bricks.
Scooty vibing to a soundtrack in his brain. But Tetris in a 2 Tetris lead for Miles right now. That's increased now. We're on nearly 100,000 points. 447, 364.
And game 1 caught us all off guard and went kind of quick. We're already nearing the 100 line mark for this game.
I mean, you hate to see it from a competitive standpoint, from a tournament organizer standpoint. Thanks for those extra 10 minutes.
Now that I can speak from at least the smallest amount of experience, nerves are definitely a factor at sometimes. Both of these players have seen Masters many times, so they're not foreign to playing on stream, but in person it's always a little bit different.
So literally for Staneslow, nerves were a factor in the finals.
Very much so.
Got it.
All right, Blue Scooty just going to 460, Miles at 549. Both decent transition scores. Not as high as these players are necessarily wanting to see, but definitely nothing that they can't work through.
To our live crowd who may not be familiar, at 130 lines coming up here, the speed's going to increase 50%. And you'll see a somewhat change of strategies here. Is even with these rolling speeds, they're not going to want to play up at the top of the board anymore.
Miles at 552, Scooty just about to break the 500,000 mark.
And with the game in Blue Scooty's pocket, Miles is going to be aggressive to try to take that heart back. So there's a transition, 518 for Blue Scooty. That's about average for him. 647 transition, although he's 9 lines in for Miles.
So both healthy transitions.
Nice bit. Wow.
Fantastic setup.
That was like the bits came right away. I wonder if he set that up and seeing that coming, or he was intending to do that all the way through.
A lot of love in the chat for both players. These players have both become fan favorites. For Scooty relatively quickly. Miles has worked for it. Small misdrop for Miles over there. Going to have to work through that.
That's about a 5-line solve here for Miles. Works it down, but the Tetris lead has decreased to less than 1 now. But Blue Scooty's only going to get a triple out of that. And Blue Scooty again playing off the bottom.
This is another time where it may look scary, but you have to kind of hold your breath, because for some of these rollers, they can make their movements
Dirty
so
Tetris,
fast.
Blue Scooty.
Very dirty. They can make their movements so fast that they're out of it before you even realize the solve.
And another. 797 Miles as we get about halfway through the 19 speed. And Blue
Boom.
Yoshi cheering on Blue Scooty as this deficit has decreased to about 1 Tetris now. Miles in scoring position does extend that back. 887, 833.
Very close in score, but Miles a little bit ahead in pace since he's a few lines. Oh, now they're almost even.
The same. And Blue Scooty continuing to play 1 off the bottom. I mean, why not? You can handle it. Why waste that solve to get back to the bottom? And you see it kind of falling apart here. Miles now increasing the lead. He's about to hit 1,000,000 points with 1 more Tetris. I cursed him though. I swear I didn't do that on purpose.
Still a few levels to go before the transition to 29 speed, so at this point it's going to become a matter of just bringing it down and playing it safe. As Bidwell was saying, you see the first speed increase in this tournament level at 19. For those not aware, we'll see another significant increase at level 29 at 230
There's 1,000,000
lines.
points for Miles the Great.
Scooty right behind if he can keep it clean.
And Blue Scooty with his own 1,000,000 points. Double max out. Let's go. First one of the day. Be a lot more of those coming up the rest of the afternoon. The A meaning 1,000,000 points. They're going to go up to F, and then if they actually do get to F, they'll flip it over. But a long time coming for that.
Miles
There's your level
transitions.
29.
Miles transitions at 109, Scooty at 105. Both relatively clean stacks. Miles got a little bit of garbage to work through, but still nothing too dire.
1.1 for both players. 2,000 point difference, and Miles' board's falling apart. And that's
Miles.
going to do it. Blue Scooty takes game 2.
BO2 to B20. Good game. Apparently.
In 3,
2, 1. Tetris.
See some Clontris here with their same piece sets, and then Miles notices I said that and immediately changes that.
Yeah, some people in chat talking about the ads. We've discussed it with Pumpy. I don't think there's anything we can do at this point with where we are, but this is always a reminder that you can subscribe and get away with all those ads. I think a lot of us just ran out of our CTWC ad sponsor subscription.
From Portland, so it's our kickoff. It's the 2024 season. And yes, this is a best of 5 now. And Scooty's board, well, it's a dirty Tetris setup.
And it's just getting dirtier.
This is Game Boy Tetris right here. With Tetris wells all over the place.
Not ideal, but definitely working through it. Scooty, no stranger to aggression here.
There's one dirty Tetris. Open well. Nope, not quite. There's the open well.
Transfer it back.
And Miles has the early lead.
Miles at 86,000, Scooty at 84,000, but about the same line count, so super neck and neck. Both players with some atypical boards, but nothing too dirty, nothing too scary.
Close game, though. 5,000 point difference. Simul Tetris.
Players at almost the same score and the same line count. Very close game. This is more what we were expecting after that first game. Glad to see everything has worked its way through.
I mean, they both have glasses. They both have disheveled hair. They both are mic'd up. Although Scooty does have the advantage in stuffies.
I have to keep double checking. The players are flipped from real life to on screen, so I have to remember who's on left and who's on right.
It's for the audience's benefit. We have to do the math, Stan. You're a professional broadcaster now.
Speaking of math, I'll leave that for you guys, but Miles is at 250, Scooty at 192. Still a fairly close game, but Scooty a few lines ahead, so definitely behind in pace a small amount.
2.5 Tetrises, roughly.
Scooty with a T-spin, making it look easy. And boom, a Tetris. 237 for Scooty, 297 for Miles. Someone asking what the plan is after finals. Well, it's Kansas City, so I assume the after party is going to involve going to a barbecue joint first and then figuring it out afterwards.
There will be sauce.
After all, these decorations have got to go somewhere. They're not just going to get pitched.
Great move by Miles to open up that column. That was perfectly done.
And Scooty with a T-tuck at the same time, both getting their boards in order.
And that's the thing. These level 18 speeds are slow to these players, but they have to maximize every single point possible to put that pressure on their opponent in those faster speeds.
Scooty forced to make a small gap, but Miles forced to make several small gaps, trying to burn through it as efficiently as possible here.
Both players slightly cheesed. Blue Scooty out of it. Nearly caught all the way up. It's 356, 364. 8,000 point difference is nothing. Single lines are about 800 points, 700 points or so.
Almost at the 100 line mark. Miles just crosses it.
Yeah, Miles is going to set up a column 9 Tetris here. Makes
Great
that
adjustment.
Knocks it down. Well transfer. 393, 402. This is a great one. Scooty with a safety triple.
He's getting a little high up there, even for a roller. The aggression that these players have sometimes still confuses me.
I mean, Scooty's got a 2-game lead. He can play it safe and make Miles force him to be aggressive, but the new meta of this game is just push, 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 push.
Scooty at 450,000 miles, 444,000, almost same line count, very, very close still. No one's really moved much.
.498, 451. My goodness, Stan.
Transition coming on the next Tetris, or for Scooty, a double.
That's pretty high up for a transition for Scooty, but knocks it down, 490. Miles also being aggressive, waiting for that line to transition here, and gets it, 478. So Blue Scooty now with a 1 Tetris lead, and that's evaporated again. As Scooty kind of pressed ahead here line-wise.
For players who met so deep in CTWC, it feels like a low transition score, but again, as long as these boards are kept clean, we have all the way up until 39 to continue to play, and both of these players are very capable of playing on post-29 speed, so we'll have to see what the future brings.
We do have the double kill screen turned on, so if we do make it to level 39, the speed will double again, and maybe they could squeeze out a few more points, but they haven't figured that part out yet. Give them like 2 years.
No Cap November finally concluding, and we're following suit with CTWC, going back to the 39 super kill screen.
No cap, that's what the kids say.
Miles at 618, Scooty just Tetrising into 656. Still very close line count. Again, no player really pulling away. Miles kind of forced to keep up with Scooty no matter what he does, and Scooty playing as aggressive as he normally does.
Didn't get it quite over, missed one.
Both players were playing with fire there, very high.
There's a Tetris well for Miles. He's trying to score.
T-spin into a Tetris for Scooty, keeping the pressure on.
Boy.
Miles with the Miles dig here.
Nothing available on the right. You can't get it. That's going to be it.
That was so
Blue
close.
Scooty advances to the finals in a sweep. Wow. 18 starts. Oh.
Yo, thank you, bro.
Here we go, Kansas City in 3, 2,
2,
1.
Tetris.
Yes. Keep it going, Pump.
Listen to the pipes on Pumpy.
He
Although
does that circular breathing that Kenny G does.
Not to steal Buko's magic, but Scooty, even if it's just by the magic of having 2 syllables, seems to be the Buko of 2023. We're hearing a whole lot more Scooty chants now. Sodium robbed of the perfect clear and now having to kind of clean up the board a little bit and deciding whether or not he's going to stick with that left wall.
I like that adjustment of transferring to the left wall, too. That was the last moment. Maybe I'll put it over here. And then, just literally rolled it over in a blink of an eye.
And these players pretty evenly...
And he's like, he tried to get a little cheeky with that.
It's almost an unadjustment. Both players pretty evenly matched. Sodium takes it a little bit in the PB with a PB of a little over 2 million. Rhubarb sitting at about 1.6 million. Gotta love the reverse OJ there.
6 and below.
The 6 and below, thank you.
Virtual tie game, 102, 104, 104, 104. That's a 20-point difference at that moment.
And a key tuck, the way you don't normally see it. Adjustments, nothing new for Sodium, but you love to see them.
Both going with the white glove. More codes redeemed, thank you.
Wait, can the stream hear us?
Early on, an almost identical line count. Rhubarb at 173, Sodium at 128. Pretty close, nothing insurmountable yet. Rhubarb just waiting for that long bar. And still waiting for that long bar.
A little bit of a drought here.
And boom,
And a
Tetris
double
rhubarb
long bar,
and
the
a double.
Tetris. The rare double NES Tetris.
Havkin Knight absolutely right, saying how much the Tetris scene has advanced in the last 5 years. Honestly, even just in the last 2 or 3, ever since you've seen rolling really take off. In its fledgling stages, when it was Cheese and maybe a few others, we still didn't really know the potential. The first time we started seeing the 2 million barrier broken, I think, is when the floodgates really opened up.
$50,000 difference, about 2 Tetrises, but both boards clean. No early surprise like the last match. And either player, flirting with the top. They've managed to keep the stacks in the middle.
I think it's a combination of not wanting to have any uncharacteristic top outs and also having a little bit more generous of a seed. But yeah, both players able to play very cleanly. $364 for Rhubarb, $295 for Sodium, make it $318 with that Tetris. Not having been to a live event before and not being able to roll myself, I think one of the biggest eye-openers is just how loud some of these players roll. Their hands just...
the mics can pick that up at all.
Just obliterating the controller with their hand. Rhubarb having to make a few gaps. We're finally having to start to see a few rougher decisions being made.
These are both super clean boards, and they're not having to go super high to do it. But like we said before, it's all about pushing as many points across the board as you can at level 18.
Strong 1014 in chat asking what they're doing with the gloved hands. So the main advantage in the era of rolling is you can reduce the friction on the back of the controller so you can slide your fingers across it more consistently. Some players go the total opposite route and use lotion to give a consistent moisture, but still, the idea is to have a consistent surface to roll against. There you go, Wingfryer in chat giving a great video. You can watch Game Scout's video on rolling, and that tells you a whole lot.
And it wouldn't be a Tetris event without a rival cosplay contest across the way. We've arrived in KC, baby.
And in true Midwest fashion, the Exhibit Hall A is for the retro gaming, and Exhibit Hall B was for a gun show.
Gun and knife show.
True, the gun and knife show.
Yes.
Yeah, Cox Danny J in chat saying the gloves are also so you don't tear your hands up. That could be true, but we've got a...
Yeah, 602 transition. That's
very healthy transition for Rhubarb.
That's what rollers want. That's their goal. Is that 600K. The average is in the mid 500s.
Sodium's still waiting for that long bar so he can transition on his own.
And with a Tetris here, Sodium is going to get that 560 transition, just like I mentioned. But the important thing is the board health when your speed increases 50%. Even the top champion players have to have that brief adjustment period to get their resituated with that speed change.
Strong in chat, you will have to check out a video on rolling to kind of explain it, but yeah, they're basically using their thumb on one hand on top of the D-pad with light pressure and using their other hand to drive the controller up into their hand, letting them tap far faster than you ever could, tapping.
You're making the back of the controller the button. So the entire hunk of plastic is the button rather than a little red tab.
And not only does that let you tap faster, but it lets you tap with 5 fingers instead of 1 or 2. You see a few players like Moya managing to tap with 2 or more fingers, but normally it's just 1 index and that's all you got. With rolling, you open it up to a whole new level.
Mostly it's 4 fingers. A lot of players aren't getting at 5, which is why the 5 left is the most difficult maneuver in the game for rollers. But
fantastic
a lot of
adjustment for Sodium.
This is a really good game. Let's less nuance, more action here. The Tetris lead has increased to about 2.5 for Rhubarb.
And only about a Tetris ahead in line, so that is a true lead.
Rolling literally did break the game, though. We've had to change our rule sets so that they couldn't play infinitely.
And though no one's made the game crash yet, I think that's only because some of the screens on colors get so dark, especially 136 and 138. It's almost completely unseeable.
But at 824, 908, Sodium playing at that same distance, about 2 Tetrises away. We're just waiting for somebody to make a mistake. These games have been nearly perfect through the level 19 speed.
Get that cowbell ready. We're at almost 950,000 for Rhubarb, 917 for Sodium.
You failed lesson number 1. Don't curse the players. But look at this tie score, 949, 948. There's some cheese on Rhubarb's board. Gets it clean, knocks down a Tetris, 985. Super early million-point score threshold here.
And both players still managing to stay very clean. This is just a textbook game if you want to see one.
There's one maxed out Rhubarb. Sodium Overdose about to get one himself.
I'll say that.
There it is.
There it is.
Double max out.
Rhubarb at 1,052,000, Sodium at 1,021,000.
The A equals 1 million points. We're going to go with letters here up through F for every 100,000 points here throughout.
Rhubarb got to clean this up real quick to get in order for transition.
And the double transition coming up at level 29. He needs to get this in manageable play state.
Getting it there, but it is going to ramp up unbelievably for those who aren't familiar with the kill screen.
The double wide well. Oh, he overshifts. He's at BO4. Sodium's at BO7, and he does it. He makes it. That's game for Sodium Overdose right at the very end. GG's, applause.
Dueling 1.1s for game 1.
I think the crowd was shocked. They just didn't know what to say.
The ceiling very high for these two players.
I thought it was 27. I was like, how is he having a B?
2, it's coming to you. In
3, 2, 1, Tetris.
Little GD in there.
Hell yeah.
Just a taste. Hell yeah. They have the same glasses and the same glove.
But not the same stack, starting out very differently early on.
Guys, fun fact, you know you go to ctm.gg/Amazon or something like that, you can buy the glove we have on right now. It's actually started by the 23-2 World Champion, Eric ICX.
Sodium forced into the first burn. Early on, we're looking at seeds 2 and 3 here in our semifinals for today.
Hello, Midwinter 5. Hello, Jacob. Hello, Goat Server. Hello,
I never could do the Trish that Chris Tang does. I can't, like...
Yeah, I can pretend, but it's not the same.
Very well. It doesn't sound good.
Oh my gosh, put that in the Tetris.
Love that creative flat burn there from Sodium.
Looked like a misdrop, but you have to sometimes wonder if it's just a setup with these guys.
I know,
Funny numbers up top.
We were talking about how all these players in the semifinals are rollers, but you'll notice from their hands that there are considerable different grips. All of these players seem to have a different way to manage the buttons to get those 5 taps. Rhubarb with a much more vertical controller grip. I personally could not hold on to a controller like that. There's no way I wouldn't drop it day 1.
And you know, if it were me, the way Rhubarb uses his index and middle finger to push down on his leg to hold the controller in place, I would be like pushing the controller out from that grip and it'd be flying all over the place. So that's years of practice of using his 4th finger to keep that from kicking it in on himself.
A misdrop into an interesting setup for Rhubarb. I got the pleasure of learning how he taps. He actually taps thumb first, then pinky, and then rolls through the 4 fingers. I'm trying to figure out what Sodium does here, but it's not making. Oh, Sodium letting us know that he taps the same way.
Wait, that's far. Help us too, the current Masters event champion.
Biggie Mac saying that they roll the same way. Again, that really gets me. I think that's part of why I couldn't get rolling down. Aside from the pressure and the fact that I have a smooth brain, I think the biggest problem is I can't figure out how to tap all 5 fingers. If you can't tap all 5, you may as well just be a tapper.
You have to learn a different motion for every different distance. It's not repeating a single motion like in tapping.
And though I can't speak for these players, I have spoken to a few rollers, and it seems like a lot of them have a musical background. So I don't know if that helps with the rhythm, if it's just innate, or if it's just built in for these players, but a lot of them with a musical background. We've got Rhubarb at 226, Sodium at 244, both at about 60 lines.
So you're saying there's no excuse Pumpy can't roll?
What's that straight for?
Professor Pumpy, sure, with that logic, should be able to roll like a champ. Buzz and Bangs officially subscribed for 48 months now. Thank you so much, Buzz and Bangs.
Pumpy just goes easy on everyone to give everyone a chance.
Think about the state of the game 4 years ago when Buzz and Bangs first subbed. Oh, perfect clear. No, that's the
Sodium
second
robbed
time
again,
for
yep.
overdose. Not getting the PC.
I got that 3 times on my quals too, actually.
Or bravo for you Grandmaster fans.
Yeah, am I kidding? Guys,
Wingfryer and some others even mentioning that a metronome would help just to get the timing down. I definitely can't speak to that, but I could see it. Rhubarb with a little bit of junk on the top of his board, but barely behind in points. 348 to Sodium's 384.
Another close game here. This is a pretty crazy semifinal.
Nearing the 100-line mark. We don't have Vandy here to tell us not to, so we can call it the turn.
Barrett subscribed for 50 months. Now they're just like hype training and subscribing, and wow, here it comes.
Some real OGs of CTWC there.
Rhubarb's in little cheesy shape here.
Nice T-spin there to help clear it up.
Shot.
And we were talking about the difference between the real Midwest and the upper Midwest, like Wisconsin. That was some cheese curds that Rhubarb had to put up with. He got those cleaned out, back in a scoring position, but he's down 476, 384. So 80,000 point difference. That's about 3.5 Tetrises.
Purposeful T-spin setup and accomplished for Sodium. Very clean. This seed doesn't seem to be quite as accommodating for their play styles, but you can tell players at this caliber can make it work. I'm just noticing the little bit of Swiss cheese has built up quite a lead. We've got Sodium over 500,000, Rhubarb just crossing over 400,000.
So you're saying Rhubarb's board was over at target practice at the gun show next door?
I gotta tell you, they did get us through the line pretty quickly, though. I still skipped the line and bought online, but they did a pretty good job getting everyone through.
It's a really well-run convention. This is their first year in a convention center. We've had some bad experiences through the years, and we appreciate it when we get a good one.
Rhubarb really committing to playing one off the bottom there.
Scooty did a lot last game, so it's the new meta. But look at this lead, just keeps growing. Look at this monster transition that Sodium's going to have, although he's only going to get the single into 130, but 614 transition. So Rhubarb's got a lot of work to do, and that's one of the reasons why he's playing one off the bottom. He doesn't want to waste any line if possible.
Both players cleaned up now, playing incredibly clean. $550 for Rhubarb on 150 lines. Sodium will be over 700,000 at the same line count. Oh, just shy. My Tetris math was off. Please forgive me.
Nope. 725. Sodium is just pouring it on.
This is one of those times where you have to wonder if the seed just worked out in his advantage or if this is being a game up and being able to play with more aggression, forcing your opponent into that position.
But Rhubarb in cleanup mode, trying to get this burn down, trying to desperately get back into scoring position. It's working out.
Great
But
adjustment there for
he's falling more
Sodium.
and more behind. That lead is growing now to 210,000 points. That is 8 Tetrises.
At this point, Rhubarb no doubt just hoping that something happens to Sodium's board. That would be the easiest way to make up this deficit by a huge margin.
But we've seen bigger comebacks happen in this game. It's not over yet.
And as we've mentioned with rolling, there's always the possibility for a chase down.
And Sodium, knowing he has the lead, takes the safety triple.
Both players with very clean boards, again, nearing the 200 line mark, but Sodium almost a full level behind in lines.
that risk-reward calculus changes constantly in this game, especially in tournament play.
Welcome into some of our local fans. We've got some more people filtering into our corner of the convention center. You're seeing the semifinals, the second game. We've already got the other players lined up for the
That lead
finals.
has shrunk, Stan. We're down to 60,000 points. I just missed it.
Oh,
but
fantastic.
Sodium just eased off the gas ever so slightly, and Rhubarb has taken full advantage. 929, 865. We told you that this wasn't over yet. And we're going to head into the thrill screen here.
Rhubarb's still ahead by some lines, but no longer a full level worth. 2 Tetris available before the transition.
998 Sodium. He's about to hit 1 million. Rhubarb at 969. Hey now. Second transition coming up for Rhubarb, and you're going to see that speed double. And there it
does
goes.
it with a
Thrill screen
Tetris.
time. 1,000,000 points with both players. They don't want to hear that cowbell twice, so they did it at the same time on purpose. But 50,000 point lead, 1.102 to 107. That A equals 1 million points.
Both players last game managing to get 1.1 millions, both playing into the kill screen this game.
Sodium with that perfect second transition into level 39 with the low board, and the world opened up. And Sodium about to hit, there's the B representing 1.1 million. Rhubarb is behind by 500,000 or 50,000 points, my bad.
And with a double flip of the T, got some junk real high on the board. Gonna have to have perfect taps to get through this.
And it's getting out of control here, and Sodium's gonna take game number 2. Count them down in 3, 2, 1. Tetris. I kind of did it that time.
The next Monday and then
All right, clone play.
or
Oh,
next
no,
Friday, maybe.
Rhubarb.
I don't know.
But
With the
nice
double flip.
double tuck.
Double tuck into a double flip, it looked like, but still early on. It's not like you have to worry about something in the first few lines with these players. It's not like they're in the silver bracket after all. Little self-burn for you.
We both suffered, but you did it quite well for yourself, sir.
Both players already clean. Rhubarb just waiting for the Tetris, and boom, Tetris for Vicious Rhubarb.
Is that your first boot, Tetris?
I think it's the first into the mic. I've had a whole lot of spiritual booms going on.
Well, welcome to the club. Nice adjustment from Sodium. Saw the T coming up, flipped the piece on its head, filled in that gap with the T.
Rhubarb with a good adjustment to let that J get in there.
Hello, chat. If you're watching this, follow Sodium Tetris on TikTok. At Sodium Tetris, no space on TikTok.
Thank you, Biggie. I definitely feel like a boomer compared to some of these crowd. Sodium getting real high, but with the board still sloping in a favorable way.
That's like a nice TGM board. Dirty Tetris sodium overdose. Uncovers the well. Normal Tetris sodium overdose. That's textbook.
So Rhubarb fighting through a little bit of garbage very early on, but the score pretty close. 133 Rhubarb, 168 for Sodium.
We got a raid from T-Storm. Good to see you, sir.
Favorite weather than a selfie storm.
Costume contest in the background,
Oh,
trying
boy.
to steal our thunder over here.
The band will be next, I'm sure. But 238, 182.
Super.
It's about a 2.5 Tetris lead for Sodium Overdose.
Both players, though we don't want to curse this early, we got to wonder if we're going to see a third kill screen in a row for these players and a third max out in a row.
Yeah, it's a real super consistent play. The 2-0 match score really doesn't indicate how close this is going.
And both games, although Rhubarb didn't get the kill screen in the first game, the fact that they were dueling 1.1s was fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
Rhubarb with a very dirty and a center well.
Yeah, keep playing up there or burn it down. He's going to build it up again. Why not?
Kind
Two
of
off the
forced
bottom.
into it with those pieces. Didn't have much of an option. And then forced to take the safety burn, either that or building even further up on the board.
And back to safety for Rhubarb. Down 70,000 points.
Not the position you want to be in if you're Rhubarb, but this is exactly where you want it to be if you're Sodium. Being up 2 games, being able to play as safely as you want, taking the burns wherever you think you need to, making adjustments or not.
But as we say that, Sodium's in a little, like, you know, it's survivable. It's not a problem. But this is Rhubarb's chance to collapse that lead.
Forced to put a long bar right on top of that hole. 365 for Sodium, 310 for Rhubarb.
So Sodium's open Tetris well was going to give a triple, so he decided to clean up instead of inserting that line piece into the well.
Wingfryer with a nice comment in chat. We've still got 15 coupon codes. If you guys could, that is just free money for the players, and it might only feel like you're contributing a quarter at a time. Nice 5 and below. Might only feel like you're contributing a quarter or 15 cents at a time, but it really adds up if everyone in the chat can contribute.
So down to 30,000 point lead. That's slightly more than a Tetris. Tetris is again worth 22,800 points at level 18.
Both players past the 100 line mark now. Though Rhubarb had some digging early on, it's been nothing unsurmountable, nothing too crazy so far. And he is building up super dirty for this one. Boom, Tetris for Rhubarb. But taking the triple and not tempting fate.
And again, thanks for these code redemptions.
Man, right when you think Rhubarb's going to get clean, he just gets the worst piece possible.
He's hovering at that 50,000 point deficit. He's not making up ground. This is going to be a kind of a low transition for these players. Ooh, Sodium with the early flip, and he's in trouble with transition coming up. He's got to solve this now.
On all those
Playing it
S's and
perfectly.
Z's, that's terrible.
The well's open. It's covered. It's open. It's covered. He's not getting the
Just
line.
get
He's not
a
getting the line
bar.
stand. He's not getting the line stand. He's going to top out at
Man.
494. Rhubarb has a chase down here. He's not in the perfect situation either. This is not guaranteed.
Needing about 40,000 points. Sodium topping out at 494. Rhubarb, we're going to see 495 for a win here.
Rhubarb with a lot of cleanup job to do. Plenty of time to do it in.
Luckily, a lot of the pressure comes off when you know that everything is safely line-outable.
And the dirty
Boom,
Tetris,
dirty
one
and
off
a
the
center.
bottom. He's 3,000 short. That double will do it. There it is. Rhubarb still in the match.
I think you got it
GGs.
after that.
Assuring that both semifinals not ending in sweeps, we're going to go to game 4.
In
3, 2, 1, Tetris! TOJ, identical placement so far. Seems like saying that the placements are identical is a surefire way to break it up, but these players, knowing the default placements, being able to know where the piece is as soon as you see it in the next window, often leads to some identical openers like that.
Sodium's still waiting for his first Tetris. Knocks it down.
And boom, another one for Sodium.
Tie game. Simul Tetris. Class adjustment.
90%.
Sodium fighting their glasses. I gotta say, taking the hand off a controller can be a death sentence if you're a DAS player, even on 18, so seeing these people just being able to do whatever they want is still so amazing in person. If you haven't made it to a live event, I can absolutely tell you now that it's worth it. It's worth the drive, take the flight, plan a trip around it maybe, but it's definitely worth it to come out to a live Tetris event.
This is our kickoff this year. We're going to have a full slate of tournaments I believe our goal is to get one of these regionals a month. We're going to be in Texas, in Waco, Texas next month. Our big edition going to be in Genesis, the Smash event in San Jose in February.
Ooh, Sodium with a little shift there.
We're going to be in Phoenix in March, and the schedule keeps rolling along as we progress to our 2024 championship. But a good close game here for Game 4. But you can see even our top players we were mentioning, they both made it to kill screen. They both got 1 million points in games 1 and 2. Then that weird transition game just happened to Sodium. That happens from time to time. Even our best players aren't perfect.
Yep, that's why you don't see players with 30 max outs in a row, even though some of these players are capable. The RNG can just be relentless, and sometimes even when you get the bars, it's all about the timing. You just have to keep every option available.
And you know, most of our players can play to kill screen every time if they had low scores. It's about maintaining that aggression, maintaining that Tetris rate, scoring on every possible sequence.
True.
Sometimes you just fail when you roll the dice.
Yep, when you're not talking about competitive, we've even had players that have maxed out with a drought hack on who never see a long bar. It's now possible in the age of rolling to max out with never getting a Tetris. It's very unlikely, but it's possible.
We got the Dr. Mario World Championships champion Swong in chat. He's a San Jose resident. He's going to be there at Genesis.
This game a little different. Rhubarb's off to an early lead at 375, Sodium at 313. Sodium playing up high, not necessarily roller high, but still pretty high. Tetris found at the bottom.
Rhubarb's got his groove back. He's up 80,000 points, about 3 Tetrises plus.
I can't see the piece distribution, but I feel like, again, we've just been raining S's and Z's, but these players are doing a very good job keeping their boards clean through it.
You don't sound like you sound like you've done this before, Stan. This has been really good.
Well, thank you. No, I'll give you a quick compliment, too. I think you're one of the most underrated commentators, and you always do a fantastic job on comms, so it's a pleasure to be up here with you. I have worked on the phones in the past. I've actually worked on a Medicare helpline, so I had to deal with some people who were in quite dire situations, and keeping your cool there helps this.
Careful. Don't break those HIPAA rules. That's a $50,000 fine, son.
Man, again, the S's and Z's coming at the worst time, making Sodium's board a little bit more full of garbage. Passing on the triple with the long bar, just trying to clean up the board as efficiently as possible, not necessarily as fast as possible.
But
and
the lead is growing, and the transition is coming.
It is almost a trade. Neither player looks like they're going to top out, but this is definitely a switch off from how they played their first game.
Rhubarb is thirsty for some decider, and that might happen. Ooh,
Sodium with a real high double flip.
Gets it clean, but with 18 lines of transition, it's about getting back to the bottom. Even that 18 and 19 transition for rollers, you don't want to be in the top third of the board.
And these players have proven both in their seeding and how they played their first 3 games that they're capable of some insane scores, so they don't want to give anything up on 18 and just leave it to 19.
But we talk about that goal transition score for rollers, 600,000 points, and with this next Tetris, Rhubarb will break that threshold. And boom, there it is, 619 transition Rhubarb. Sodium transition to 466. You can see that. You can see the pace of my speech increases 50% as we get into the fun levels here.
And now it's squares. This RNG just really unfavorable for how Sodium has been stacking the board. He's been fairly safe through most of it, but it's just so hard to stay efficient when it's raining S's and Z's at the worst time. You finally get that cleaned up, and then it's nothing but squares. It's just the worst.
Sodium now, whenever there's a decision to burn it down to play safe or score a Tetris, with this deficit, it's about scoring a Tetris. You can do a chase down at level 29 play, but really scoring Tetrises post 29 is extremely difficult. And if you can avoid that situation, do that. Take the risks now at the 19 speed. But Rhubarb playing nearly flawless.
Same line count, the score 733 and 579. Real high for Rhubarb, but a
Wow.
long bar just in time to
Just
clear
in
it up.
time, for sure. Wow. He can do no wrong this game. He gets into a dire situation, the game gives him 3 lines. He could do no wrong, the game gives him
3
4
more
lines.
lines. Insane. 848 for Rhubarb, 667 for Sodium.
So Sodium's got to keep aggression up, and he also has to plan for a post-29 play. He's not going to make up this deficit in these next 5 levels.
True, regardless of what Rhubarb does, we're probably going to have to see some play into the kill screen for Sodium to take this back.
So when he gets to about level 27, it's going to be keeping that board low and setting up to score post-29. A Rhubarb, 955. This Tetris rate's got to be 80%. Close to it.
It feels so high, especially with the pieces that they've been given. It's amazing that Rhubarb has been able to keep his board so clean for so long.
Nice.
Just always finding an accommodating spot, always keeping your well open is one thing, but always accommodating for the squares, the S's, the Z's, knowing that any piece that comes, you have a home
Impressive
for
when
it.
Fills in the gap on the left instead of scoring.
And
Gets
a
the
T-spin.
There's a million points for Rhubarb. Sodium has closed the gap slightly as Rhubarb has been taking a few safety burns, knowing what's coming up. And that's the counter move, knowing that Sodium's got to play at 29. Now Rhubarb's going to set up for 29 as well.
Sodium the first into level 28, behind a little over 150,000 here.
It has shrunk just a little bit. Now it's down to 130. Sodium, like we mentioned, has a perfect board for 29 play. Can get a couple quick Tetrises.
Man, and the S's and Z's again, just raining down at the absolute worst time. Sodium going to transition into kill screen there, just shy of the max out.
1.1 for Rhubarb, that's the B, meaning 1.1 million. And Sodium about to break a million himself. And if we hit level 39, but it looks like Sodium's board is out of control, and Rhubarb is going to send this to a decider.
All right. Go, Bob.
That's the one that Donald got. Those D-Sider emotes in chat, a lot of overlapping players, CTM fans and CTWC fans. Are these players already ready?
Nope, man.
Some people in chat liking the water bottle crackle ASMR.
Oh yeah, I'm a fan. I don't even hear it and I like it. All right. All right, Kansas City, are we ready? We got a D-Sider in our semifinals. Count them down in 3, 2, 1, Tetris.
Bro, I feel like I'm like a tribute in the Hunger Games. I'm just seeing me like go to play Scooty.
For those just joining us, this is our second semifinal game. We've already got our first finalist set up with Blue Scooty, besting Miles in a sweep, actually. Both games relatively close, or all 3 games relatively close, but
There you go. And Cox Danny, get that money exactly right. Winner's going to go away with a part of a $500 prize pool, courtesy
of today's sponsor.
today's sponsor.
The match arena is still a little bit low, but we love to see it. The sponsor putting 500 forward, though.
It is a Talent Tattoo. I remember it was a tattoo shop. I didn't want to give it away until I remember the name.
Talent Tattoo and Body Piercing, thanks again for your huge sponsorship today.
Here in Overland Park, Kansas. And if this were a less serious match, I'd ask the players what type of tattoo they'd get if they got a free tattoo, but they're a little involved right now. We'll save that till later.
Well, and don't quote me on this, but I think Scooty might be a little lung for ink if he ends up winning.
His family thought they were down, you know, Blue Yoshi.
There you go.
Yeah, long bar right down my nose.
That's right. Retro gaming, tattoos, and guns. Kansas City, baby, and barbecue. Don't forget that.
And we are on the Kansas side. A lot of people with Kansas City think of things like the Royals and the Chiefs, and that's all on the Missouri side, but we're actually in Kansas for this one.
Do a sign real quick.
And there's no place like home.
Wait, can you hear me through your headphones, Pumpy? Oh.
So Sodium's got the 3 Tetris lead now early on. Rhubarb's got a clean board. And again, the level 18 is about scoring every Tetris possible. And that's a safety burn there from Rhubarb, kind of early for that, but you know, maybe his meta here is to not let the nerves get to him. There's a blue Scooty scouting out his opponents in the front row.
Scooty waiting in the wings, just waiting to see who he's going to face.
The final boss.
Will it be Sodium or Vicious Rhubarb? These games so far have been quite exciting. We've had multiple max outs, several kill screens, some very, very close games played very well. Sodium's board looking a little atypical, not as clean as you would see it, but still in the lead by a tiny bit, 263 to now 269 with Rhubarb's score.
Rhubarb getting some creative tucks here. Big fan of the multi-tuck setups. Again, this is maximizing your Tetrises early on.
Yeah, Rhubarb with some really nice skims there too to keep himself open. Just waiting for that long bar. Boom, Tetris for Rhubarb.
But 319, 313. Close game. Little screen look there. Another screen look. 343, 360.
Nice S flat to keep everything real nice and clean.
Rhubarb gonna solve his little issue. And if he gets that blue J down there, he will be Tetris ready. He's gonna go Tetris ready with the line instead. Nice adjustment, seeing the line coming.
And another adjustment with that L coming.
And Sodium
I love you. Less RG, bro. Less RG.
maintaining that lead. 431, 378. So about a 2 Tetris plus lead here for Sodium Overdose as we hit 100 lines.
You know, even with English as my first language and watching Tetris for all these years, I still get J's and L's messed up sometimes.
Blue J.
And I tell myself it doesn't matter because I still heard Jonas saying
Jonas
red
would call it
J
Red J.
and a blue L, so I think I can get away with it.
It's Z and the other Z.
Rhubarb's left side very high there, still sloping about the way you want it, but just not as friendly as you want to see in this situation. Rhubarb just going over to 435, Sodium Tetrising to 501. Wonderful adjustment with that square. It's hard to catch all these, even when you're watching the stream. You can't catch every adjustment, but these players are both putting on a show here for us today in the semifinals. They're doing a fantastic job keeping this lively. In chat talking about an ad break, so we'll do score updates a little more frequently. Sodium at 524, leading Rhubarb at 462. Scores makes it 485.
That lead is increasing now for Sodium. Transition of 509 for Rhubarb.
So higher than we've seen some of these players go today, but not as high as they would like. Still definitely on max out pace even before 29, but they're going to have to do some work here.
I think the word mid would be used in that just self-description. You'll never hear me call it that, but 597 transition for Sodium, so that's right on that 600,000 point.
Oh, Rhubarb with a small miss drop and cleans it up so beautifully. No burns required.
So
And another small adjustment.
The 2 Tetris deficit here is maintaining throughout. But Sodium looking great into the 19 speed.
Rhubarb both forced into some of these tucks and some set up with ease.
Little dependency there on the left for Rhubarb. If he gets the line, it's only going to be a triple for him. Kind of had that Homestar Runner looking cartoon face. with
Ooh,
his
and a
sack.
double flip. That's been the case today. These players have been playing absolutely beautifully, but when you're more than halfway up the board on post 19, a double flip can mean so much damage.
And the moment can get to you. Like, you start to think about your situation. You're playing and you're grooving. You're doing your thing, and then all of a sudden, oh yeah, that's right, I'm in a decider. And then bam, misdrop.
True. In the
That
first
leads.
regional of the season, you don't want to start off like this. You want to go out as high as you can. And both players doing a very good job, but Sodium keeping that lead. Almost 8 lines back, about a Tetris back, give or take.
Rhubarb.
Ooh, that long bar so high. Sorry, Sodium at 788, Rhubarb at 644.
Yeah, that is 5-6 Tetris now difference. Rhubarb has got to turn this on.
And it is a true pace lead because we're seeing that Rhubarb is ahead in lines right now.
We got Josh Tolles cheering on the Tetris, trying to overtake the cosplayer applause. But Sodium misdrops that T. So Sodium looking to clean this up, maybe set up a dirty Tetris or a off-center.
Good adjustment for Rhubarb. You never know if it's the S or Z next. You kind of hover the long bar in place and then make your adjustment at the last second. And the noise in the background just goes to show how well these players have been able to focus today. Although we've seen some early top outs, we've seen some small misdrops or double flips. Overall, these players have been putting on a clinic and doing a really good job playing through all the noise and all the pressure.
Now Rhubarb's a little high up.
Nice triple there.
That cleans it up beautifully. But that lead has shrunk down to 3 Tetrises now. It was 6, now it's 3. Tetris are now worth over 30,000 points per the 4-line group. And thanks for the POG series rate of 10, 19.
More applause as the announcers are listing off their winners for the cosplay contest
So-
while we're preparing for the kill screen
Yeah,
here.
the thrill screen now. They don't kill no more.
Rhubarb with 1 Tetris, 1 good time long bar, and he's
1
going to be
million
there.
point sodium overdose.
Rhubarb has to take a triple, still waiting on that long bar, droughted right before transition.
And 1 million points into our decider, into the kill screen Rhubarb. Sodium with about the 1 Tetris lead, 30,000 points. Waiting for the setup into his thrill screen.
Rhubarb already on level 30, trying his best to stay alive, just waiting to see what Sodium does.
Sodium into the thrill screen, misses the... That could be it, Stan. That could be it.
Rhubarb got a chase
One-
down now at
needs
A34,
it.
needs A57.
A57, that's 20,000 points. He could line this out. It's about 1,000 points per single line for Rhubarb.
Just a few more points. We're so close here.
But nothing is guaranteed.
A48 to A56. And Sodium, all he can do is wait.
A54. A56, 140. A57.
And there it is!
that's it.
The Golden
The
Gopher
reverse
advances.
sweep. Oh! And the fighting. You have delicate CTWC mics on, gents.
Whoa.
We have a final, Stan.
And the game's ending up different. Even though all of our semifinal games were fairly close with one exception, we went from a sweep to a very tense reverse decider.
Hello everyone, I'm your underwater host Sharky and wanted to say thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed the matches, then be sure to leave a like. Comment down what was your favorite moment. Me personally, I liked it when Sodium and Rhubarb got into it a little bit at the end. It was all in good fun and it made me laugh. And if it made you laugh, then be sure to let us know about it. If you want to stay up to date on all things CTWC 2024 and beyond, make sure you subscribe with notifications so you never miss out another upload, as tomorrow we are going to be uploading the finals. If you want to check out what happened before the finals, like the match between Blue Scooty and a Game Scout, yeah, that's a matchup, then you can become a channel member. In doing so, you not only directly support this channel and also all the things that we here at CTWC are able to do here for the community, but you also get access to behind the scenes and premium content. With that being said, I'm your underwater host Sharky, and I'll see you in the finals of the Kansas City Regionals tomorrow.